another episode of our special series, Beating All Odds. We are all officially shut in our houses for over 2 weeks now. There is complete uncertainty about everything around us. In these unexpected, unprecedented times, while we are struggling to do our day to day tasks, there are leaders who are sitting at home running businesses. They're managing agencies not only in their own country but also in some neighboring countries. With me today is one such leader, Mr. Gupta, CEO, South Asia Wavemaker. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, Nazia. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Also, this is the time when the consumption has increased a lot. I mean, television, be it television or be it digital. So,
absolutely,
what is this particular point? How are you communicating this to your advertisers or your clients that this is the time when the consumption, as per BARC numbers, if you talk of news channels, the consumption has increased by 268%, which is like again another unprecedented thing that has happened right now. So what kind of, how are you looking into this aspect of the...
So actually this again goes back to our first situation. There's one side of it, which is the advantage of media being at its most effective, possibly. But also the other side of the coin, which is that the brand possibly does not need or needs to save up a little bit of their investment. So it comes back there. We are using the advantages or the increases in media profitably to the client. So there are some genres of programming which are going up a lot more than the others. There are some media which are not as fast-paced growing as the others. So we're keeping the client constantly informed of all the shifts, and given the objectives of the brand and given what we would like to do at this moment, we are utilizing media to our advantage.
So coming back to the larger economy and the impact of this crisis on our industry. So how much do you think this is going to slow down our growth this year?
Yeah, so this is not going to be easy, and I hope for all of us that that we are in a position to get out of the lockdown as soon as we can. It is important that everybody supports the lockdown and stays at home and manages it. Every week we lose is going to affect us more. All of us are into scenario planning, so looking at what happens if we manage to get out of the problem in April, May, June, whatever, depending on when the lockdown ends. It's going to hurt us deep. It's hurting us at a grassroots level. You have the lowest common denominator, the daily wage earner, who's been hit the most. His consumption, which is the bottom of the pyramid, is getting affected, and therefore it keeps going up. So it's going to be quite bad. Difficult to right now say, put a number on where we will be, but all I can say right now is I hope by end of April we manage to recover, at least manage to get back into work, into normal life. Even after that, it will take at least 6 weeks or maybe longer, 8 weeks to come back to regular consumption. So it's going to be at least a quarter of a hit, a good quarter being hit, April, May, June. So I mean, all of us together hoping it comes out soon and we can get back on track.
Which sector you think will be affected the most? It's like print, television, digital, of course, appears to be the least affected. But how is this entire thing going to affect the print domain?
The print. So, like you said, television and digital have been least affected and possibly have been positively affected. Print, yes, print has been negatively impacted. Uh, Basically because they have not been able to distribute, and even after they have managed to get government go ahead to allow newspaper delivery to happen, there are societies which are not allowing newspapers to come into the society. So it's definitely is a challenge right now for them. Uh, but but print has survived, and they have been innovative, and they have really pulled themselves together. I mean, doomsday for print has been predicted for the last 10 years, I'm guessing, but they have managed to stay afloat. They have been innovating. They've added digital. They've been doing a lot of on-ground activations. They're bringing themselves together. So I'm sure they'll find a way to come back, and they should be okay. What's very
Even
severely
outdoor,
affected
even
right now?
outdoor for that matter, must have been
Completely. So that's what I was
completely
coming to. I'm
worse than
saying
print.
worse than print is cinema. Is out of home. I feel for them. I mean, it's a complete washout.
Complete washout.
Complete washout. So it is a challenge.
News as a genre has almost become a staple diet for everyone sitting at home during this COVID lockdown period. With so much of anxiety and curiosity around COVID, everyone has been trying to gather as much information, as latest an information, and as authentic an information as possible. And television news has become one of the most important sources of getting that. And so, in the short run, it does provide an interesting opportunity for brands to connect with consumers. The latest viewership data does suggest that a lot of people are now sampling news. News always have had a very transient viewership. It never had appointment viewership to a larger scale. One of the interesting things that are happening right now is because of all kind of consumer cohorts being locked inside their homes. There's a lot of sampling of news that is happening from new consumer cohorts which were not really sampling news earlier. And this also provides an interesting opportunity to a lot of categories which were not looking at news as an obvious genre to reach out to consumers. So all these factors do present news as an interesting opportunity right now. COVID and its effect are going to be there for time to come, maybe years. And development related to its cure or any vaccine is going to take time. And hence, the need to seek information related to it would be there for a long period of time. So this event alone would ensure that time and again consumers come in and sample news as a genre for variety of needs. But there will be other events and developments that will keep happening around us. And so news as a whole, as a genre, is in probably for a good run over a period of time. So in the medium to long term as well, news will be an attractive proposition for a lot of categories and brands. Since it has always been a steady performer, any incremental delivery coming from news because of more people sampling it, new cohorts coming onto it, or many new events happening around us, would only hold television news in good state.
Hi, this is Sandeep Agarwal, CEO and founder of Droom. So, as far as increasing importance of news channel in this pandemic is concerned, I absolutely feel as a marketeer, we always follow where our users are. So, if you look at the history of internet, last 26 years, as people started spending more time on internet versus TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, outdoor, so internet marketing grew much faster. If I look at our last few years of advertising allocation in terms of our budget by genre, whenever we ran a TV commercial, it was skewed towards GEC uh, English channels, music, sports, and news probably received maybe 12% of the total spend. But given how much more we are dependent on news, if I were to run a TV campaign today for Droom, I think the spend would be more like 18 to 20%. So clearly, this genre has gone up in terms of importance where users are spending time, and thus, as a marketeer, our opinion or viewpoint in terms of how much more we can spend on this.
Oh yes, I'm not surprised to see television and the news genre, rise up in the numbers. We're all in a lockdown. There's COVID. We are all at home, and everybody is looking to news channels to provide us with accurate, good, correct information about what's happening with the world, and what's happening in our country and what's happening in our city. So yes, it's good to see. It's good to see that people have also started taking the whole space a little more seriously. And quite frankly, what option do we have? I don't think anyone can remain flippant, especially during these times. I have a lot of my friends who are calling me and saying, "Hey, did you watch that interview?" or "Put on X channel and watch so and so speak with so and so. It's a good piece of coverage and it's a good editorial, and take a look at it." So yes, it's not surprising to see. As a marketer, I've always been a fan of the news genre, and I will continue to remain a fan even after COVID. My only piece of advice to brands who are going out there and say advertising during news channels is that don't come up with messaging that is flippant, because people are watching the news and they are in a particular mindset when they're watching that news, whatever that news would be. Try and create relevant advertising when you are leveraging the news channels. I mean, customize, contextualize, and figure interactive and interesting ways through which your message can, really resonate with viewers when you take to news. But yes, good to see, and we'll continue to watch.
Hi. Brands should focus on going where the audience is. So if the audience is today watching news, we should be advertising on news. In a COVID kind of a situation, I would focus on products like germ-free tiles, which can keep working 24/7, keeping the home safe, addressing concerns of people about sanitation and hygiene. And those are the kind of product categories that would thrive. Thank you.
In these times of lockdown, when everybody is at home, it is very natural that the consumption of content would go up. But it is also very heartening to see that the consumption of news has gone up significantly. I was looking at some figures. During these times of lockdown, the news consumption on TV has gone up by more than 10 folds. And it is not just TV, even online the numbers have gone up significantly, not just in times of daily visitors but also new users who are coming and seeing news online. So for any advertiser, this augurs very well. However, I believe that these kind of increases in the viewership are unsustainable. And once the lockdown is eased and people start moving out, the numbers would fall. But what would happen is these numbers will stabilize at a level higher than what way they were before the lockdown. So as a marketeer, as an advertiser, I would definitely look at news channels, the entire news genre, more favorably. Coming back to what we do, as far as where our business is concerned, our media plans have always been tilted heavily towards news, with more than 50% spends being diverted to that genre. With these new numbers coming in, we might look at increasing our spends on news a bit further. but that will totally depend upon where these numbers ultimately stabilize.
I'm asked to speak about my personal views about advertising during this lockdown period, which can help build the brand, particularly when the TV news viewership has seen an unprecedented rise. I'm speaking from the comfort of my home where I'm strictly observing the lockdown. COVID-19 outbreak has brought unprecedented change to the lives across the world, including India. With people staying indoors, TV viewership and smartphone usage has registered a spike. People are glued to their screens looking for ways to keep themselves engaged and entertained. TV viewership has seen an exponential growth in the last fortnight, with the news channel registering a growth of 5x to 7x. Channels have started bringing back old and popular TV serials, the biggest example being Ramayana on Doordarshan. And there seems to be a great excitement seen amongst families watching it all together again, just like old times. Brands can look at targeting these specific time slots, and I'm seeing that few brands are already advertising on it. My outlook would be to also consider Hindi and regional entertainment channels during the non-prime slots too. As people staying at home, though many of them are working from home, means they are likely to watch TV throughout the day, and hence there is a growth in viewership during 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. too. There are certain section of audience who have skipped these traditional mediums and are active on OTT platforms. With a new set of audience embracing the OTT now, it has seen a 2x increase in viewership. This is not just for metros, but in smaller cities as well. Hence, I feel it's a good opportunity for brands to make themselves seen and heard. But in my personal opinion, they need to analyze their spends and prioritize it well, keeping their inventories and distribution capabilities in mind, as only spending money for brand building is not enough. It is actually not an ideal situation to advertise, but at the same time unable to deliver if the customer needs it. While I feel the bigger opportunity is to connect on digital platforms too, the maximum time is being spent either on TV or mobile, but we'll not talk about it right now, as the ask is to talk about the TV viewership. At the end, I would urge and appeal to everyone to cooperate and follow the preventive measures announced by the government, as it's for our own safety. Hoping all of us are blessed with good health, courage, and collective strength to support each other like one large family during these difficult times. I'm confident that when we get over this situation, each one of us will come out much more stronger. Till then, take care, stay safe, and stay at home. Thank you.
The corona situation has certainly impacted everyone in a way that no one could have imagined. It seems straight out of a disaster or a science fiction movie, and we are actually living this whole scenario out of our homes. I believe that events like this are actually life-altering. While we are seeing this happen all around us, I think it will have a permanent effect on how we perceive life, its dynamics, live it going into the future. Routines and habits will change. Mundane activities like going out, traveling with people will take on completely new dimensions for us. And one more habit is the consumption of media. Media consumption is very typical to everyone. Consumers have a very specific pattern in which they consume media. They have unwritten codes, and largely media consumption is driven by a person's lifestyle, the time spent between work and leisure and after hours. It is like a personal code, and that's what defines the media consumption mix, basis class, religion, and consumer types. Talking about news as a genre has been very central to the Indian media consumption story, and a lot of people believe that news is seen as a medium which is more consumed by business class, trade, and the working class. So you'd see a lot of matured trade-driven categories and brands investing in advertising on news channels. News is basically not a medium in India that can be ignored or sidelined in an Indian environment. In the current context, I think it's become even more critical because everyone is now in the news, considering it's Corona, and everyone is switching on the news all the time and trying to see what's happening. And as a result, what's happened is obviously there's an influx of people watching news. On the other side, another very important genre, which is GEC, has taken a complete backseat because now there's no new content, there's no shootings happening, and hence it's all reruns happening. So a large chunk of consumption is moved from GEC, and I think news would be one of the mediums that's taken over, apart from movies, of course. But I think notwithstanding the current situation, I think marketers will increasingly look at news genre as an all-important medium to advertise. As news genre gains strength and momentum, advertisers, marketers would put some very key bets on it. That's it from my side. I hope for all the viewers to have a safe time, stay indoors and stay healthy.